When the 2000 presidential election was called into question over ballot marking device errors called hanging chads, many states felt the answer was to take a leap into the future of voting technology. Georgia was one state that chose to purchase an entirely electronic voting system. After nearly 20 years, however, that system was failing, and it was time for a new one. Activist Caroline Holko, who ran for municipal office in the Atlanta area in 2018, says the vote slippage was a major problem.
In 2016 was the first time that we heard people talk about vote slippage, where someone would select a candidate, but another one would light up. And if you were not prepared and not already informed that you have to get a poll worker if your vote slips, how many people were just, well, I guess I don't get to vote. We don't have a way to track that.
Vote slippage can be caused by improper screen calibration or even just long fingernails. Garland Favorito, the co-founder of VoterGA, contends that Georgia's current method of electronic voting is both illegal and unconstitutional under state laws.
The exposure at Kennesaw State probably was the biggest security breach in the history of electronic voting. That central ballot billing system that populates all of Georgia elections and all counties was wide open for fraud and errors and exposure to the internet. And we discovered that it was open for exposure for 13 years. Not only did the Center for Election Systems allow the server to be exposed, they realized they had no backup of the server. Then when they discovered that it was exposed and they needed a backup, they still didn't take a backup. And then they allowed the server to be wiped in violation of the Secretary of State's data retention policies. For the first time, we could see how elections could be programmed without detection. The county election officials would have no way of knowing if a hack had been perpetrated at that central server, which is under a single point of attack vulnerability. That was of national significance because it was the first time we've really been able to understand how easy it is to program any election in any county at any time.
Georgia's new machines had been the answer to these vulnerabilities, but hackers say they were able to get into very similar voting apparatus at a Las Vegas convention meant to test machine weaknesses against the country's greatest computer wizards. The hackers said they could replace the memory card and introduce malware to the system. Georgia leaders, however, maintain that the new machines are different from those tested at the convention, and that the security around the election will be tight enough to catch anyone trying to tamper with them. For Who What Why, I'm Darlene Acuna.